The first sign that something was wrong wasn't what Emily Carter saw. It was the smell of burnt sugar mixed with gasoline drifting through the Setapak night market long before anything happened. People who knew her said Emily wasn't the type to scare easily. She'd lived in the area for years, long enough to understand the noise, the crowds, and the heat of the market. But on that night, something in the air made her uneasy. And if you've ever walked alone through a night market and felt eyes you couldn't see, you'll understand why she kept glancing over her shoulder. The place buzzed with the usual chaos. Motorcycles weaving through puddles, vendors shouting in Cantonese and Malay, steam rising from grills. Neon lights blinked against the damp pavement. Nothing was out of place, but Emily felt off from the moment she stepped in. She kept her head down as she moved through the crowd. A group of schoolboys laughed loudly, but one of them stared at her just a little too long. Not threatening, just unsettling enough to make her pick up her pace. She wasn't supposed to use the back alley behind the Capitium. Her mother warned her about it every time she went out, especially after the incident last year. But the main road was packed, and Emily was tired, so she took the shortcut. The market noise faded the second she stepped inside the alley. It always went quiet there. The air smelled like old oil, rotten fruit, and wet trash. A stray cat knocked something over and made her jump. She tried telling herself it was nerves. Just another long day. Then she heard footsteps. Quick, light, echoing behind her. Matching hers, she turned around. No one was there. Just shadows, bends, and the cat watching her from beneath a broken crate before her heartbeat even slowed. She saw him. At the far end of the alley, under a failing street lamp, a man stood completely still. Too still. Black jacket zipped to his chin. Cap pulled low over his face. His posture wasn't aggressive, but it wasn't normal either. It was the kind of stillness that meant waiting. Emily froze. Something deep in her instincts told her that if she looked away, even for a second, something terrible would happen. The man took one step forward. Her breath caught in her throat. She gripped her phone but didn't dare look down. The alley felt heavy, like the air itself was warning her. Then he raised his hand. At first it looked like he was showing he wasn't a threat. But when the street lamp flickered, Emily saw something dripping from his fingers. Thick, black, slow, oil. The smell hit her a moment later, chemical, sharp, choking. And that was when it clicked. The stories, the warnings. The legend whispered in Malaysian neighborhoods for generations. Orang Minyak, the oily man who appeared in dark alleys, right before someone went missing. Emily didn't wait to find out more. She ran. She sprinted through the alley, slipping on the wet pavement, shoving past crates and shadows. She burst into the night market so fast she nearly collided with a woman carrying satay. People yelled at her, but she didn't hear them. She didn't stop running until she reached the main road, where the street lamps felt safe and familiar. When she finally turned around, the alley was empty. No man, no footsteps, no sign anyone had been there. The night market hummed as usual, as if nothing had happened. But Emily's hands kept shaking long after she walked home. She checked her door lock 3 times before turning off the lights. The next morning, the neighborhood woke up buzzing with news. A girl from the next block had gone missing. Last seen at the night market. Around the exact time Emily ran through it. People argued. Some said she ran away. Some said she was taken. But everyone agreed on one thing. Behind the capuchon, someone found a fresh, oily handprint smeared across the wall. Thick, black, finger streaks long and distorted. No one said the legend's name out loud. They didn't need to. Emily avoided that alley from then on. But even now, people say she sometimes smells it again when she passes the market at night. That same sharp, bitter scent, clinging to her skin long after the rain washes everything else away. It started with a whisper from the woods behind her house. Most people would have ignored it, but Emma Dawson was never the type to ignore something calling her name. She lived on the edge of Ashford, a quiet town surrounded by pine forests, so dense that locals joked sunlight needed permission to get through. Emma's house sat closest to the tree line, and she always said the woods felt alive. Her friends brushed it off. Small towns make you imagine things. But one night, Emma heard something she couldn't explain. She'd been studying by her bedroom window when she heard her name drifting from the darkness outside. It wasn't loud. It wasn't even aggressive. It sounded like someone trying not to wake the rest of the world. "Emma, come here." She froze. No footsteps, no rustling, just that voice, soft and patient. She tried to convince herself it was a prank, maybe kids, maybe someone messing around. But the voice repeated, clearer this time, like it was standing right at the tree line. "Emma, I need your help." Her stomach dropped, because the voice didn't just sound human. It sounded like someone she knew. She stepped away from the window and closed the curtains, but curiosity was already wrapped around her. Something in that voice tugged at her memory. The next night she heard it again. Same voice, same calm tone. Only now it sounded a little closer. By the third night her sleep was gone. She couldn't stop thinking about the woods or the strange familiarity in the voice. She kept replaying the tone, the softness, the way it stretched her name. It finally hit her who it reminded her of. Her older sister, the one who disappeared in those same woods when Emma was 9. She whispered her sister's name into the empty room, and the voice outside answered. That broke her. She grabbed a flashlight and stepped outside, careful not to make noise. Every part of her body screamed to go back inside. But grief does strange things. It twists logic and makes impossible things feel believable. The woods swallowed her quickly. Trees rose on both sides like walls. The cold bit through her jacket. The voice guided her deeper. Emma, almost here, but something about it had changed. It no longer sounded soft. It no longer sounded human. At one point her flashlight flickered and died, plunging her into complete darkness. She stood perfectly still. She didn't breathe. She didn't move. And in that silence she heard something breathing just inches away from her face. Slow, wet, hungry. Then the voice spoke again, but now it sounded like dozens of voices stacked on top of each other. A chorus, a mimic. "You remembered me." Emma ran. Branches tore at her arms. Roots caught her feet. She didn't know where she was going. All she heard was the thing chasing her and the way it laughed in her sister's voice. Finally, she saw a faint light. A cabin. She burst through the door and collapsed on the floor, slamming it behind her. Dust exploded around her. The cabin was abandoned, but at that moment it felt like a safe world. She crawled into the corner, shaking. Then she noticed something scratched into the wooden floor, over and over, deep enough to splinter the wood. "Don't answer IT." Before she could react, something thumped against the cabin wall. Then again. Each hit heavier than the last, like something throwing its weight forward, trying to find her. The voice came from all sides now. "Emma, you came so far. Don't hide." She covered her ears. It didn't help. The voice wasn't coming from outside anymore. It was inside the room, circling her. Something cold brushed her neck. She screamed and ran out the back door, sprinting until she saw the glow of her house. She didn't stop running until she crashed through her front door and locked it behind her. She slid to the floor. Silence. She didn't sleep. She didn't move. She didn't even cry. And just when she thought it was over, she heard a soft tap on her bedroom window. She didn't open the curtains. She didn't need to. The voice drifted through the glass, calm, gentle, almost friendly. "Emma, you forgot to invite me in."